Pues yo había pensado de ver un par de vídeos. Bueno, Baldograu ha dicho que iba a mandar al grupo unas motos para verlas. No lo ha mandado todavía. Pues de mientras, lo que podemos hacer, si os parece bien, yo había pensado de este tío que hace unos vídeos brutales, el 999Lazer, y había hecho unos vídeos de lo que ya vimos y reaccionamos con el motor de BRC 500, y se ve que él ha hecho montándola y hay otro probándola. ¿Os parece que veamos montándola? Porque ya vimos un tío que lo hacía. Recordáis que yo me puse malo porque el tío era más vasto, que era martillazo, era tremendo. Entonces vamos a ver esta persona que hace unos vídeos brutales, porque a ver, 200.000 seguidores lo que tiene, 207.000 seguidores y tal. Es un tío que le da caña a esto. Hace muy buen contenido. Entiendo que tiene que ser un pedazo de vídeo. Entiendo, ¿vale? No lo he visto. Así que vamos a verlo. Vamos a poner los subtítulos. Los subtítulos. Traducir español. Y vamos a echarle un vistacito, tío. Vale. En este vídeo vamos a transformar este objeto de 2,5 en nuestra monstruosa moto de cross de 2 tiempos de 500. Este del canal es el que tiene el megalodón, que es la Maiko 700, que ellos lo han bautizado como el megalodón. O sea, este tío... Y además hemos reaccionado a muchos vídeos suyos de 500 y de tal. Claro, gana pasta con YouTube. Pues lo invierte en buenas máquinas. Acabo de recibir un prototipo especial de la YZ-M500. Esto ya lo vimos en su día. Esperaros que tenemos la música puesta también. Ahora. Esto ya lo vimos en su día, reaccionamos los precios, ya lo vimos.
So this is a cylinder from a standard YZ250. As you can see, pretty normal.
Cilindro de
You can't put your fist in there or anything. But this is the cylinder from our YZ-M500. And
ya he visto que te has unido, Baldograu. Manda las fotos.
That's the difference between standard YZ250 and the YZ-M500. This is going to get interesting. We're going to start the build very, very soon.
Entiendo que se lo va a montar alguien en condiciones. A ver, vamos a ponerlo un poquito más rápido, ¿vale? Velocidad 1.5.
The track to find out what the true difference between this and this is in action.
Vale, la van a construir y van a comparar la diferencia de uno y otro, 2,5 y 500. Creo que me he pasado con la velocidad. Ponerlo un poquito menos, 1.25. Día 1.
Workshop. Okay, so it's a super exciting day here in the workshop. As you can see, Roland Shaw from Hardcore Racing has started work on the project.
Hardcore Racing.
We're taking the motor out of our 2022 YZ250, and there's a box of goodies down here.
Hombre, de primera me gusta que es un taller limpio, recogido, me gusta.
Away from Canada, and that is going to go in here in this video. So let's get cracking. Okay, Roland, so this probably isn't something you do every day, taking a perfectly good engine out of a perfectly good...
comprar una moto nueva. Comprar el kit, que recordáis que valía, no sé si eran unos 7.000 y pico, 8.000 dólares canadienses. Y tal. Tela, ¿eh?
Bike, so how do you feel about doing that today?
Well, it's alright, it's nice that it's not all filthy. It's nice, it's clean, there's nothing rounded off, it's all brand spanking new.
Dice que claro, que está todo limpio, que es todo nuevo.
Yeah, it's literally only been ridden twice, once by me and once by Tom. So yeah, it's hardly done any work.
Well, it's an exciting
solo rodado 2 veces a YAMAHA.
You've got to be happy with that.
Yeah, let's do it. Okay, so the first stage of the process tonight is taking the motor out of our 2022 YZ250, so that's what's going on now. And we're going to do that before we open up the box from Canada and take a look at what parts that Riley sent us and what you actually get in the package when you buy a BRC motor, so on with the job.
Este tío tiene pinta de que sabe.
5 to 5, it's now 25 past 5, so in just about half an hour, Roland's managed to get it, so the engine is ready to come out, so that's pretty quick, He reckons it's alright, he reckons he could do it quicker if he was in a real rush, but we're taking our time with this, making sure everything's done right, so we get this bad boy out now.
bien, con sus útiles y con todo, sí señor, muy bien.
Okay, so the engine is out and Roland is stripping it down now. The BRC kit, you do use the original transmission and clutch from the donor bike, but you get new crankcases and barrel and stuff like that. So that's why Roland's stripping down the engine now.
Sí. Está diciendo básicamente que lo que ya sabíamos, ¿no? De otros vídeos que vimos. Otros cárter y tal, pero embrague y eso de... Los mismos útiles que tengo yo, sí señor.
Okay, so we're at the point now where we've taken the transmission and the clutch out of the original YZ250 engine. So Roland's just putting the cases back together now to make sure everything stays clean and tidy. The great thing about the BRC kit is that you're not making any irreversible changes to the motor, so if we want to change it back, we can do that. So that's why we're putting the cases back together now.
Está diciendo eso, que lo bueno es que claro, si
mañana
quieres volver a montar 2,5, lo puedes montar.
Okay, so we finally opened up the box and we're going to get out all the parts and lay them on the bench here and show you guys what you actually get when you order a BRC kit. So first things up is the pipe that comes with the kit. It's an FMF pipe, but we will actually be getting later on down the line a cone pipe delivered. So this will be on there temporarily, and then we'll get this cone pipe that should be coming soon. Tailpipe FMF again. Right, the first box.
Vea,
te gasta $8,000 y viene en una cajita.
Nice bit of sand casting on the machine, looks good. And we've got a bucket, name cylinder, complete with diaphragm, power valve system already installed. It does look like it's going to be a quick cylinder. There's some really nice porting going on in there. Right.
Este tío sabe, ¿eh? Este tío sabe lo que hace.
We have water pump stuff. We've got clutch cover top bolt.
I have to say, all nicely labelled,
yeah,
which is very helpful, so thanks, Riley.
And we have your favourite part, valve decompressor, and the breather for the crankcases. Alright, balance shaft.
I can only imagine what this bike's going to be like to ride. It's like a 500 in a modern chassis, counterbalance shaft, power valve. It's going to be fun.
Estos motores tienen el eje de... El eje ese que te... El eje de balance. No hace que no vibre la moto nada prácticamente.
Got Christmas, isn't it?
Better than Christmas, isn't
Es un
it?
500 moderno.
Two-stroke Christmas.
Yeah, two-stroke Christmas.
Well,
Los cárteres.
straightforward.
Vertex piston, Honda CR500.
Yeah, I think it's a very, very good comprehensive kit, and if it all goes to plan, like I suspect it will, it all looks like it's going to be a fairly straightforward build. I don't see too much stress here.
So for me, you get a kit like this and you look at it and you think, uh-oh. But for a competent mechanic, you think it looks pretty straightforward and easy to do.
It's a nice comprehensive kit that's self-explanatory.
Now that we've laid out all of the components from BRC, Roland can now begin getting his head around where to start with this build. First thing...
Hombre, ya lo hablamos cuando hicimos el vídeo y vimos la página de BRC y tal. Es caro, pero es que está todo muy bien hecho, ¿eh? Está todo muy bien hecho. Es caro, pues bueno, no sé hasta qué punto, pero es que hay un montón de cosas hechas ahí tremendo, ¿eh?
Fitted into the BRC cases.
Día 2. Anuncio de rigor. Hay que monetizarle.
Okay, so we're just about at the halfway stage of the build now. It's day 2 in the workshop. Last night, Roland took the engine out of the bike and then stripped the engine down, and then got the transmission from the YZ engine and got it into the BRC cases. So we're ready to go today to build up that motor. So we're about to crack on with that. But first, in the first episode, we asked you guys for some ideas for names for this bike, names for this beast, and we had a load of comments. But there's one name that came out on top. There were so many suggestions for this name, I just could not ignore it. Like I said before, we love to build a bit of character around our channel bikes. At first, I was shying away from the YZilla name, because I didn't want to copy Travis Pastrana and his RMZilla. But at the end of the day, the YZilla name just makes so much sense for this bike, and so many of you suggested it, we just had to go for it. So from here on out, our mission, now let's head back to the workshop.
There's a little bit of silicone just to be required. There's a bit of backup on that section there that's quite thin. So it's just in here, there's a bit of silicone required, hence the handy little note in the cases for me. That's a bespoke crankshaft for the job. It's got a Fox run rod on it.
Look at the number 3 on that casing, which means that's number 3 engine. We know, to our knowledge, there's only one of these at the moment built up in the world, which is riding his own bike.
Yep.
How does it make you feel, seeing that being put together?
That's pretty cool, isn't it? It feels pretty special what we're doing in the workshop today and yesterday. And really, I think Roland's just as excited as us to see this thing in action. Definitely going to be the first one in this country, and hopefully we'll make the first proper mint video of one of these things ripping. So Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Hombre, me hubiera gustado más que se viera un poquito más detallado. El tío está montando y están poniendo algunas cosas éticas.
Push this main end, push this main end seal in from the ignition side. I'll put some rubber grease on just to help things go on nicely.
El retén.
Which it is a very good fit in all respects, both with the crankshaft and the cases.
Okay, Roland, so the next part is fitting the counterbalance shaft. We talked a little bit about it yesterday, and I know what it feels like to ride a bike with a counterbalance shaft, the KTM 250s, so I kind of know what it does on the track, but what's actually happening inside the engine, like in technical terms, to give us those effects?
Right, well, if you were to, in the normal way, just with the sole crankshaft, go for a highly balanced crank, then in its own way, you'd end up with something that was either quite lethargic or, in certain ways, would vibrate quite a bit. So by using a counterbalance shaft, you get the benefits of a low vibration, smoother power delivery.
Dejar un poco que rebobine para atrás porque quiero leerlo. Me he despistado. Era bastante letárgico, en cierto modo las formas vibrarían un poco, por lo que al usar un eje de contrapeso contiene los beneficios de mantener la potencia más suave con baja vibración.
And that's something we're really excited about because CR500 doesn't have one, KX500 doesn't have one. So it's going to be an experience to ride a 500 with what should be like really smooth, nice power.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just going to slide the counterbalance shaft through. So this is the counterbalance weight, which will be timed with marks on the crankshaft on the other side. As you can see, we've got timing marks which are lined here. Nice little note from the manufacturer. Tallied here to the mark on the gear, and then we've got on the gear to the crankshaft. We have these two dots which also tally. So everything's in the right place. We've got our counterbalance shaft, key to the shaft. We've got this gear key to the counterbalance shaft. We've timed it correctly. All of the marks are all correct, so we've got this match up between the timing marks on the counterbalance shaft through to the crankshaft. Our gear shift shaft's in, our gear shifting mechanism is in, our idle gear, our kickstart shaft, everything's in. So this is all going to kind of get a bit lost now behind the clutch. So we're going to build the clutch on, then it's going to be a case of do the clutch cover and, well, we've got to build the water pump into the clutch cover, put the clutch cover on, and then it's on with the cylinder, and then pretty much back in the frame. So we've now put in the standard Yamaha YZ 250 clutch setup, which is married perfectly to the primary kickstart. Everything is all engaging as you'd hope it to, so fair play to the boys again, good job, proper engineering exercise has been completed. Well, YZ 250 is an intimidating bike in itself, but obviously once you get onto the monster amount of torque that's available from a 500, then you would ask the question, would the clutch be up to the job? Well, I would have said it would be, because it's not the kind of thing that you slip and give a particularly hard time for. With a 500 engine, you do tend to run in the meat of the mid-range of the power, you tend to stay within one or two gears, you do tend to roll on and roll off the throttle. There's no need to be brutal with the clutch to pick up speed or to you know, get the engine RPM up. It will naturally progress, and the way that you want the power delivered is in that mid-range, and I think this clutch will be more than happy to take all of that. So it's a good job.
Este tío es muy interesante lo que dice. Básicamente estaba diciendo que claro, que toda esa potencia de la 500 y tal, que hay un muy buen trabajo hecho de ingeniería, de tal, para que este embrague tire de todo eso. Y que encaja perfectamente, que va y que debe de ir bien.
Okay, so Roland's been making some really good progress. We've just finished putting the clutch system in, so up next is to build the water pump bits into there. So that's next on the list.
Original gear going on a new water pump shaft. It is just a press fit, so when you do the build for this, you need to have a press available to you to be able to push this gear onto the new shaft. So it's original gear pressed off the original shaft, and now will be pressed onto the new shaft to work with the water pump and the new cover. Right, so we've installed the two water pump bearings, two seals, and we've repressed the genuine gear on, which quite nicely comes up flush against the end of the shaft, and you can see that it butts up against the inner race of the innermost bearing. So all's looking good, everything's been designed and engineered correctly. Very nice. Loads of gasket manufacturers don't seem to be able to put holes in the right places. With these guys, whether they're using a gasket, it's a sign that they're looking to do the job right. The gaskets are good. You know, they fit nicely, everything's as you'd want it to be. So it's good. Singing their praises tonight. Yeah, water pump's going on now. We're getting close. We're getting our build together. We're now going to move on and we're going to looking to build up the top end of the engine. So we're going to be installing the
Cilindro.
bearing and piston on, base gasket. We're going to set the squish and put the cylinder head on, and then we're ready to put it back in the frame basically, which is really exciting.
So like Roland said, it's about time to fit the piston, and I just wanted to show you the difference between a 250 piston and a 500 piston. So this is actually from, it would be for a CR500, but just look at the difference there.
La válvula
The
mecánica.
tub is on.
So the head's about to go on, almost the moment of truth. Our monster motor is built. Let's get it in the bike. Oh, moment of truth.
A ver.
Get the engine in the frame. I think we probably could have spent a bit more time squealing it in, but I felt the easiest way was to get everything out of the way. So swing arm off, subframe out of the way, and yeah, push it backwards, slide it forward, in she went lovely.
So after 2 long nights in the workshop, we were actually working until the early hours of the morning on the second day. We, and when I say we, I really mean Roland, finally got the motor built and mounted into the chassis. We could then start reassembling our bike. We were so excited to get this build done, but before we could finish in the workshop, we had a few final mods and adjustments to make. Then, and only then, could we fire the YZ into life for the very first time.
Pero ese tío pilota, ese tío
Next
sabe lo que
time,
estaba haciendo.
we'll walk you through the final process of the build in the workshop,
¿No la
and
van
we'll
a
show you
arrancar?
just how good the BRC kit looks in our 250 chassis. And then it's time for the
guapa,
ultimate moment of truth. Can we get her started?
Queremos escucharla.
Tune in next week to find out, and be sure to subscribe to 999Lazer to never miss a YZilla episode. As always, guys, my name is Max. This is 999Lazer, and
Hay que
until
estar
next week,
suscrito para
I'll
verlo.
see you.
Vale. Pues podemos hacer una cosa. Ha quedado impresionante. 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 La verdad que es lo que dijimos la otra vez. El motor, pues sí, el motor. Es caro, sí, sí, no, a ver, es caro, pero es que hay un trabajo tela, ¿eh? Y el tío que lo ha montado, ese sabe lo que se hace. No como la serie de vídeos que hicimos que descubrimos un tío que lo estaba montando y eso no tenía nada que ver, ¿eh? El tío lo metía a martillazo, lo metía... Y ese tío pilota. Ese tío...
Producer.